Welcome back to Tabletop Tactics for Rocket League, where I'm going to be showing you how to better improve your positioning in Rocket League and tactics to get you higher in the ranks and playing better with your team. And today we're going to be going over the left and right theory. Now this is a theory that I made myself, as all of these are, to help visualize where is the best place to attack against your opposition. And as you can see, I've already got the midline put out, and that's because that's a big part of left and right positioning. Okay, first things first, we shall assume we are orange team, as we always like to do. And orange team are down this end. It doesn't really matter where they are at the moment. So from this, we can assume that this is the left side, and this is the right side. So wherever the ball is, whether it's on the left or on the right, we call that a play that is dedicated to that side. So this is a left-sided play, and this is a right-sided play, if your teammate's there, say, for example. Now, the whole idea of this left and right-sided play is that the dangerous spot for your opposition is on the opposite side to where you are. Because in theory, with good positioning, like the back post rotation that we discussed in the first video, just in shot here, he's entered by the back post, covering the whole net, and there's a teammate who's pushing out on the ball, say, for example, and perhaps there's another player. We haven't used the green car yet, but green car is upfield on his way back, and in this whole scenario, he could be on either side, doesn't really matter where. All of the cars who are active are assuming this to be a right-sided play. You look at the cars, they're all pointing in that direction. Now your aim as a player is to try and find the opposite side of the pitch. So if this player is like this, then a shot coming in from this angle, they're going to have to do a hard bit of mechanics to get up and save that. Whereas if it comes in from the same direction, they just fly up straight, they've got a lot of movement adjustment that they can make. So how do we do that? Now, the way that you're probably all very familiar with is using the backboard, and the reason why the backboard is dangerous is not just because it's above the players, out of their range, but in general, we'll take these two players out of this to remove complication. In general, the ball is going to go up in the middle of the goal, and then it's going to fall down on the opposite side of the pitch, and because of that, it then technically goes into their blind spot, because it comes in at that angle, so that the player who is coming from the opposite side of the pitch has the easiest angle to shoot, where the defensive team won't. So that's why that backboard is so dangerous. Now another way which we often see are those low flat ground passes. So this player has the ball, say, and they've got a little bit of room to hit the ball, and what they'll often do is they'll come in and hit it very hard across the pitch, and then that ball has switched sides, and during that switching process the opposition team will then have to readjust as it's switched sides. It's now on the left side rather than the right side, so their positioning is no longer applicable. And then we start getting in a situation where rather than back post defending, which we discussed in the first episode being very useful, they are now front post defending, which is very tough because they have a lot of blind areas which they can't protect. A lot of teams will be attacking all on the same side, and they'll have a very narrow, because obviously the pitch is a lot bigger than this representation, so they tend to all be very narrow on the same side. Now, you have a player who's rotating out on the same side as them, it's all one-sided. You then, as a keeper, get to make a save. Now, what we commonly do is we put it in the corners as a keeper, because that's a safe area, because it's very hard to shoot from the corners. But one thing you can do is you can switch it over to the other side of the pitch. So this defender here can make a save, if it's possible, and deflect it across the pitch. And by deflecting it across the pitch, your teammate, or the person who makes the deflection, depends on who has the momentum, perhaps your teammate who's rotating back in is able to do it, they will be able to then take it over to the other side of the pitch. And because they have a lot more space there, and because this player is crossing the midline, as we discussed in the previous episode, he's not going to be in the most favourable position to make a challenge. So at this point here, you're able to normally progress the whole length of the pitch because you've gone over to the empty space. You've switched it from right to left. This will get harder and harder the higher ranks you go, but you'll start to notice people do this naturally at the higher ranks. So without further ado, we'll go into an example now, and I'll just show you how the cars line up, in particular in defense, looking out at a left or right sided play. Okay, so we've got ourselves a nice example here of Northern Gaming doing it beautifully, and I'll break it down slowly and show you all the different points where we change from left to right and how it affected the Penta defense. Now, I'm going to be honest, I watched through a lot of clips and the left and right switching happens constantly, but at the top level these guys' mechanics are so strong that they're able to adjust very quickly and make saves even when it is on the opposite side of the pitch to what they're comfortable with. And they also are very good at covering those options as the third player rotating back. So you won't see it as much at the top level, but those kind of on the bubble, so high champ, mid champ, diamond, platinum, all those kind of players, if you can start switching up left and right, they won't know how to deal with this. So and it should work all the way down to the lower ranks. It's just very tough to do. So here we go, here's an example, and this has got great mechanics from Maestro in it, and Remco actually. As you see just before, Remco is able to make an incredible clear back upfield. He has to return back as that third player, does a little drift turn, clears it upfield. Let's slow this down to 50% and we'll just go forward from Remco's clear. So first things first, this is a left-sided play, and you'll notice that Pwned has got his car orientated, ready to come in via the back post to cover that. Freaky makes this block here, thinking he needs to cover for his teammate. In doing so, causes him and Maestro to cross over to the other side. Now you watch, Pwned in the net now has to cover that side. And because he was back post originally, but now is front post, he turns to aggress, assuming his teammates will be filtering in behind, which unfortunately Killer enters via the mid of the goal, where Freaky also enters via that front post. So that's actually a mistake on back post rotation, but you'll notice Maestro followed through on that ball. He did cut across the midline, which breaks the rule we mentioned before, but in this kind of situation it's fine because his two teammates are miles back. So you watch here, Maestro follows through, and after that challenge he may as well follow through. Remco's very good at holding that third man position. You watch here, Maestro tips it across. Now watch Killer and Freaky as that ball crosses across. Do you see that time it took them to turn around? And I bet if we go from their point of view, they won't see Remco coming in. So you see Remco, we'll just back off a bit, is positioned on the opposite side of the pitch. And he comes flying in here. And let's have a little watch from Freaky or Killer's point of view. I mean, both of them had very similar point of views because they were doing much the same thing. So here they are. As soon as that ball goes up, they don't see Remco until then. And even then it's very tough. And so you get that point blank range shot because you're in their blind spot. It's very tough for them to get up quickly to it because they have to turn around as well. And it makes it very tough for them. So that was iffy defense from Penta and great play by Maestro. But that translates down to the lower levels by just doing very simple passes across goal, high passes over the top of the defense, especially as a lot of people don't rotate through that back post like they should do. So you'll often find people sitting at that front post, tip it over the top of them, and you'll find easy goals on the opposite side of the pitch. Back to the table. So here we are back again, just to finish off. This is a lot easier in twos because in threes, often that last player who's rotating back will be rotating back with a lot of boost and will have a lot of momentum, so they'll almost be able to ball chase and intercept the ball as it goes. But imagine we are playing twos, which is what I'm sure a lot of you will be playing, and that crossing across from one player over here to the opposite side of the pitch can often define whether this player stays up as the passing receiver or whether they go back and start to defend because they're concerned at the ability of the defense to clear it away. So if you're ever worried, or ever wondering I should say, why your teammates aren't able to shoot as easily and they're often pulling out, it's probably because you're not crossing it over to the opposite side of the pitch enough. Something to try out. You don't have to do this all the time. It's not the only way to score, it's just a way that's very good against players who aren't quite as good in position. So on that note, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you've got any questions, leave them down below in the comments and I'll try and answer them for you. Hopefully we'll be able to get the last episode out. I'm recording these all before I go away. And the last thing we're going to be going on is rotating out of offense, which should get this 5-episode series all round up, and we'll be able to talk a little bit more about some other stuff in the future. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.